Alright, welcome to another Python for DevOps video. We're reading Provisioning an Ssl Certificate with AWS ACM. The next module is created for the provisioning of an Ssl certificate using the AWS Certificate Manager service. Create a directory called modules/acm with 3 files: main.tf, variables.tf, and outputs.tf. So we tried doing this last time. We got some errors. Let's just follow along anyways again, see if we can have better luck this time. Oh, it looks like I've got to reopen the project. There we go, and now I can power everything on. While we're waiting for things to boot up though, we'll continue to read the book. I've got to hit yes first though. There we go. The main.tf file in the ACM directory tells Terraform to create an ACM SSL certificate using DNS as the validation method. It uses a variable called domain_name, which is declared in variables.tf and whose value is passed to it by the caller of this module. It outputs the ARN identifier of the certificate, which will be used by other modules as an input variable. So this is the first file we're going to need to create. These are all pretty small files here. Second one, third one. Add a reference to the new ACM module in the main Terraform file. So this, I think, is going to be not within this ACM folder. It's just going to be in the main folder. Yep, alongside the S3. The next 3 steps are the same as in the S3 bucket creation sequence: Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. Use the AWS console to add the necessary Route 53 records for the validation process. The certificate is normally validated and issued in a few minutes. Alright, so we're going to try this. I don't have high hopes for it working. Last time it didn't have a module, the S3 module, and I couldn't figure out how to install it. I did see a way to install Terraform just using the Ubuntu software manager, but there was some error that I'm not sure what that was, and I decided to just keep reading the book and moving on instead of investigating it. If we see that error again, we'll look into it a little bit, but I really do want to prioritize just getting through this book. My goal here is more just to have read this book and get first exposure to some of this stuff than to be able to absolutely nail it and do it perfect, or like pass a test on it or something like that, or set it up in the real world. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is try to get Terraform from here again. Oh, actually it looks like it's installed already, so perfect. That's good. Let's try to launch it. Okay, and looks like it launched as well. Okay, sweet. So Terraform seems to be working. So let's change directory into documents. And then, yeah, this is my lab I'm using for the Cosmic Python code along, for that book, Cosmic Python. But I'm also using it for this book as well. All right, and I gotta sit down quick. Okay, so next step is to type out those files. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be main.tf under modules ACM. So we're going to make a directory, dir, ACM, Yep, and then we're gonna change directory into it. All right, and now nano. We can use vi. Let's use vi. Vi main.tf. Okay, so this will make a new file. This is going to be a Terraform file. So let's just type it out. Okay, so this is a resource. I'm not sure if we have this. I mean, we'll try running it later, and if there's errors, unfortunately, I think I'll just move on like I did before. I would like to get everything working. That's the goal, but as I said, really all I'm aiming for primarily is just first exposure to some of these things. Alright, got a few more files to go now. Next file is going to be variables.tf. Okay. And outputs. That's the final file. That's the final new file. We'll also need to edit the main file. Alright, so next step will be adding a reference to the new ACM module in the main Terraform file. So we're going to go up one, and yep, so main.tf in the modules folder. So let's go vi main.tf. Okay, and now we need to add, yep, so yep, we see provider AWS region equals, that looks good. Then we've got our module for S3, that looks good. And then we've got, oops, so it looks like something opened extra here. Let's go back to where we were, there we go. Okay, so we need one more module. Module ACM. Now, this I find interesting. It looks like this file is actually not meant to be in the modules folder because we can see the source is this dot means the current file, and then a modules folder from the that's absolute to this current folder. So let's take a look at what folder we're currently in. Okay, so we're currently in the modules folder, and there's not a second modules folder. So clearly that file is either intended to be here, or the path is incorrect and it can't include that modules folder. So I think that's going to be what the issue is, that the path was incorrect. So let's try using a different path for both of these modules. So for the first module, we're going to use ./S3. Alright, and then the second module we'll need to create from the beginning here. So module ACM source equals, and here we're going to go with a different path. We're just going to say /ACM because we're already in the modules folder. Alright, so so now we can try those 3 steps. Hopefully they'll go a bit better now that those file paths are correct. First step is Terraform init. Excuse me. Yeah, so already it seems to be going a lot better for me. I think before we got an error message just right away as soon as it run, but here it looks like it was able to successfully initialize the modules and the backend, but now it's in the process of initializing provider plugins, and it looks like it's got a pretty big install to go here, so kind of wish there was more information about how far along it was with that. But already it's working much better now that I have actual valid file paths. I'm kind of disappointed that the book had that kind of error again, but I'm going to keep going with this. I know I flipped over to another book to see if that was better for me, and it actually was perhaps a bit over my head, so I kind of ended up in a similar situation where I wasn't exactly 100% overjoyed, you know, in a really enjoying what I was working through, so I figured I might as well go back to this. Alright, Terraform has successfully installed. So next step is going to be Terraform plan, and you can see they give instructions there. You may now begin working with Terraform. Try running Terraform plan to see any changes that are required for your infrastructure. So I think there might be some changes required. I guess I'm confused here because I don't have any infrastructure that I know of, so I don't know what it considers to be my infrastructure right now. And I'm not sure how it would detect changes. I would think I'd get a message back right now saying it can't detect my infrastructure. Yeah, no valid credential sources for Terraform AWS provider found. Yep, so I didn't add any of that. So, but hey, at least it's running now. Let's do Terraform apply, even though this wasn't successful. We're going to get different warning messages than before. Region. So it looks like it's actually giving me the. So I did try to give it a AWS provider, but I didn't give it a valid provider. And I'm not sure what to fill that in with because I don't have a paid AWS account. All right, but the last step is Terraform apply. Okay, so use the AWS console to add the necessary Route 53 networks for the validation process. The certificate is normally validated and issued in a few minutes. I don't have the AWS console. I don't know what they're talking about there. Looks like we got another error here. Same error, not connected into AWS. So let's just keep on going. next section is provisioning an Amazon Cloudfront distribution. The next module is created for the provisioning of an Amazon Cloudfront distribution. Create a directory called modules/cloudfront with 3 files: main.tf, variables.tf, and outputs.tf. The main.tf file in the Cloudfront directory tells Terraform to create a Cloudfront distribution resource. It uses several variables that are declared in variables.tf, and those values are passed to it by the caller of this module. It outputs the DNS domain name for the Cloudfront endpoint and the hosted Route 53 zone ID for the Cloudfront distribution, which will be used by other modules as input variables. Okay, so let's type out the code for this. Similarly, I don't think it'll work, but just typing it out I think is often a good thing to do. So let's do mkdir. Of course, you don't want to do cargo cult. You don't want to just type it out for the sake of typing it out and not understand what's happening when you do that. But sometimes I find if you actually type it out, you actually see it for what it is and see it more clearly. If you just kind of gloss over it when you don't understand it, you've just got nothing to go on. Alright, oops, and I'm starting to feel kind of strange. Might need to go lay down for a bit. Might need to cut this short. Okay, and I'll use by again. By has been working well for me. Oh, this looks like a pretty big file. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And it's not going to work. We've seen it. It's not going to work before. Okay, well, unfortunately I am going to skip this. Kind of hate to do that, but we're going to skip it. And I think I'm going to stop the video once I get down to here. So let's try to get through this. I'm kind of fading fast, so if I can get through to there, that would be a victory for me. Add a reference to the Cloudfront module in the main Terraform file. Okay, we know to do that from before. Pass s3_www_website_endpoint and acm_certificate_arn as input variables to the Cloudfront module. Their values are retrieved from the outputs of the other modules, S3 and ACM respectively. ARN stands for Amazon Resource Name. It is a string that uniquely identifies a given AWS resource. You will see many ARN values generated and passed around as variables when you use Infrastructure as Code tools, IAC, that operate within AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay, more on that file there. Here's them adding the module. You see they're using a strange file path, assuming that they were in the modules folder. I guess I would assume that they're not. The next three steps are the usual ones for the provisioning of resources with Terraform: Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. The Terraform apply step took almost 23 minutes in this case. Provisioning an Amazon Cloudfront distribution is one of the lengthiest operations in AWS because the distribution is being deployed globally by Amazon behind the scenes. Okay, the next section is provisioning a Route 53 DNS record. And I'm going to stop there. I'm kind of fading fast here. So unfortunately it's a short video. I hate to do that. I wish I could always go longer, but I think sometimes it's a just take the victory of actually having done it instead of pushing yourself and not being able to do it the next day. Alright, so that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where I read about provisioning a Route 53 DNS record.